again. Gonna do probably a stream on the way home. Let's see what people are talking about as I'm going home. So the one of the things I just seen right now. See, the beauty of working in the afternoon is that sometimes there is news that pops up, and I gladly would like to talk about it as I'm going home because it is on my mind and stuff like that. So, as you're seeing in the thumbnail and the title, London will always be blue posted something on his Instagram stating that the possibility that Cole Palmer could get surgery if the persistent groin injury is happening, right? And this is my stance on it. I do think that if the injury happens or continues to be there, then I think he does need to get surgery. But I'll wait for a few more people to jump in here and see what's going down. Wait till I get out of the area, man. Shit's kind of nuts. Sun is killing not my sight, but all right. Let's go ahead and try this out right now. So the title of this stream, there was a little bit of dead time there. I just wanted to get out of the sunlight, honestly, because it is showing on the camera. But speaking on Cole Palmer, I got a lot of questions about him earlier on today regarding how I feel about his season and everything like that. Let's be real about something here. He's had a bad season, but as the title of this stream says, bro, there's a possibility that he may have to require surgery to get this injury that he's dealing with over. I mean, do I think he needs to get the surgery now? No. So if you go on Instagram, you search up London will always be blue. Go ahead and encourage yourself to read what he has said on it. I'm just giving my opinion on it. This is my thing about Palmer, bro, is that the groin injury that he's suffered and the ankle injury, the thigh injury, told you whatever lower extremity injury Cole Palmer has had this season, bro, has severely affected his game to the point where he's been left out of the England squad, to the point where he's also just had a made up in form, bro. And the question is, should he get surgery to get this injury over with, or should he just continue to try to play through it and just rest himself so then he can be ready for the start of next season? Because he's not in the England squad for the World Cup. He's not going to be featuring for Thomas Tuchel. And Xabi Alonso now has a chance to really see what he can get out of this brother, man. I mean, I got asked a lot of questions earlier about how I feel about him, and he's my favorite player on the team, bro. Like when Cole Palmer plays well, bro, Chelsea play well, and that's a given. We've seen it, and there's a bundle of evidence to prove this theory about him, right? But my whole stance on it is that if he can't get over these injuries, then he's going to end up having a career where he's known for being injured more than what he's brought onto the pitch. Somebody also compared it to how when to Neymar's career in a sense, right? Where Neymar's career essentially, once he got to PSG, was riddled and rattled with injuries, right? And why was that? The difference between Neymar and Cole Palmer in terms of the injuries is because Neymar was a showsman. He's an entertainer, right? And for me, when you're that kind of guy that wants to showboat, that has the quality to do it and knows how to do it, you're going to get fouled a lot more. You're going to take a lot more contact, unnecessary contact, right? Because players don't want to be embarrassed on the field. They really don't. But with Cole Palmer, with his size and his I guess you can say somewhat athleticism. Like he's a tall, lanky guy, so his lower body is requires a lot of how you can say a lot of muscle strength. He needs to get stronger in the lower part of his body, in my opinion. For one, two, another thing that I feel like he does need to do, honestly, is build up that upper body. If he doesn't build that upper body, he's going to end up getting a lot more injuries. He's going to get knocked down a lot more, and he's not going to be able to withstand the duration of a Premier League season. God forbid if they were in Europe next season, it's just more games on his body that I realistically think he does not need. This is why I do get sensitive when I do talk about this brother because I know mentally he isn't right. And I know for a fact that if he has a full preseason with Xabi Alonso and Xabi Alonso can actually get him to play in his best position, where I think is that inside right channel, that's where I think Palmer is at his best, bro. So does he need surgery in order to get over it? If the injury persists and it keeps coming up and he's not playing well, I think he needs to take that bullet realistically and just get himself right because he's still relatively young and he's still a guy that Chelsea are looking to build around. So you want him realistically to be at his fit, at his best, right? So that's what I want to know from people. Like, should he go out there and get surgery on his groin to make sure that he's good, or should he just try to play through it, get the rest, and see if he can find his form that way? Otherwise, he's going to continue to battle injuries for the duration of his career, right? And I don't think Chelsea are to blame for that. I think it is the scheduling of the way that players are like it's just the amount of games they're playing now. Like Chelsea played through July, what, 13th of last season? And then they had a month off and then they went through an entire season with Champions League football and everything like that. What truck do I have? I'm actually driving a Chrysler right now. I don't drive a truck. I'm not really like the biggest fan of trucks, honestly, but I have driven them before. Uh, do you want a truck, bro? Right? It's like I said, man. Like Palmer, in my opinion, if he's able to get past these injuries, we have a world class talent on our hands. We really do. Now, is he going to figure it out under Xabi Alonso? I mean, I hope so. I mean, I've been on record, I think, saying that if he doesn't get it going this season, this upcoming season, Chelsea may look to sell him. And do I think that's going to be a smart move in the long run? I don't think so. But you want to build around this, brother, right? It's clear Enzo Fernandez is leaving, right? It's very clear that he's leaving. Real Madrid are going to be the team that end up swooping him up. And honestly, that is the only team I wanted to see him go to if he were to leave, right? I don't want to see him go to Man City or PSG, bro. Like, I want to see him go. That is a cool car, bro. But I want to see him go to Real Madrid. That's the only club I want to see him at if he's not playing at Chelsea, right? But for Palmer specifically, man, I keep on stressing this about him. When he plays well, Chelsea end up looking a lot different. Why? Because he's an unpredictable player. He shows up in the half bases where you're not supposed to be showing up in. And realistically, for me, he's our best hope of winning any kind of silverware in the next 3 or 4 seasons. Right. And is that saying a lot about the quality of the squad? I think it is because you need to have quality in this squad. I almost ran a red light, bro. But but the quality in this squad, man, needs to be improved around him. Right? You have players like João Pedro. You have players like Reece James in the squad. You have players like Levi Colwell, Esteval, right? Caicedo. Enzo's not going to be there next season. It's all about guaranteed he's leaving, bro. Right? But you need to build around these players, man. Like you really, really do. Because Do I believe Chelsea are going to be as bad next season as they were this season? No, I don't think they'll be as in 10th, right? But the rest of the Premier League is catching up. There's no European football. So they should be able to just focus on the league and try to be consistent in the league because it's been a long time since we won a Premier League title, bro. Like it's been too long. 10 years is too long, man. It is way too long. They need to find some type of consistency in the league. And if that means you don't play in Europe for the following season, look what happened to Manchester United, right? Even though they got knocked out of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup insanely early, they sacked Ruben Amorim, then brought in Michael Carrick, and they shot up from 15th to 3rd, right? I'm not saying Chelsea are going to go from 10th to 1st in the Premier League. There's no shot, bro. Not with the way that Arsenal are, not with the way that Man City has their squad, right? I don't think the only team realistically right now that I think is going to stay the same is Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool are going to improve at all next season. Mo Salah's leaving, and Doni Iraola is set to be the manager. So we'll see if he's able to get the best out of these players because Arne Slot wasn't the answer at all. And like I was saying this about Arne Slot and to Liverpool fans, period. It's you guys had an opportunity to sack Arne Slot when Xabi Alonso was available. You didn't do that. Why? Because the board still believed that he can at least do something. But when you spend 500 million in the transfer window and you finish 5th, that's not good enough, bro. Like you could look at the Chelsea angle of it, right? We spent close to £2 billion in what 8 transfer windows, and our best finish is 4th. That's unacceptable, right? You're paying $2 billion, you should be at least winning a Premier League by now. You can make a debate about a Champions League, but a Premier League title, you should have at least won one of those, at least one. But you don't do that. Why? Because you're spending stupidly in the transfer market rather than smartly. You're buying young players with potential rather than buying players that can help the squad out right now, right? And this is why I circle back to Cole Palmer. You got to get players around this brother that can actually get the best out of them. And what players do I have in mind, right? You bring back Nicholas Jackson. That's a guy that got the best out of Palmer. They got the best out of each other, right? Then you have João Pedro. You already have the basically the centerpiece at center forward. But in my opinion, if you want to really take that next level, you go sign a Victor Osimhen. I'm telling you guys what I would do. I know Blue Co ain't gonna do this shit because Blue Co doesn't care about winning trophies. What do they care about? This. But has it ever occurred to them that if you win silverware, the amount of money you get for winning that specific title? I know I shouldn't be talking right now, but there's a guy literally like looking at his phone while he's driving. At least I'm looking forward, bro. This person's not even paying attention, has his whole blinker on and stuff. Oh man, California drivers, bro, never cease to amaze me. But it's like I said, man. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities that in what I would do with this squad and the players I would bring in. Rafael Leao is the immediate person that I'm looking at right now in terms of who do you bring in on that left wing? Rafael Leao. That's who I would do it. No other person, no winger. But if you really want to talk about a swap with Enzo Fernandez, bro, why aren't we inquiring about Rodrigo? I've been saying this now for the better part of about a week. Why aren't we inquiring about Rodrigo? Why aren't we asking them about a swap deal for that kind of player? I understand Valverde. I understand Camavinga, Chouameni, Dean Howson. I understand those are positions of need, in my opinion, right? But in terms of the quality of player on the wings that we should be looking at, Rodrigo ticks all the boxes in what I'm looking for in a winger. He would have that left-hand side essentially his, right? Same with Leao. Give me 1 second while I try to navigate this part here. This part's kind of crazy. Okay. Let's see what he does. Okay. Yeah. But Rodrigo is a player that I just don't understand why Chelsea fans aren't saying anything more about him in terms of a swap deal with Real Madrid. Like people wanted Camavinga. I understand that he's a six who could also play at left back. I understand that. But just for me, what I want to see is somebody that can take over that left hand side and actually cook and actually do something, be a bit more dynamic, take a bit more risk. You know, could you imagine a front three of Rodrigo, João Pedro, and Esteval? That would feed families, bro. That would feed families. That would essentially be Brazil's starting front line if Vinny Jr. wasn't in the picture, right? But because he's in the picture, Rodrigo would find it very difficult to start on like the left hand side, in my opinion. But Rodrigo is a player, bro, that if he wasn't injured, we should be all over that kind of player in terms of a swap deal. You're talking about essentially the same value that you would sell Fernandez for, but it seems like the owners want cash rather than doing like a swap deal. I would just do a straight swap Rodrigo for Enzo. That's what I would do personally. But they're not going to think in that way. They don't want to think that way because they don't want to win trophies, bro. They don't have the ambition like how the fans have ambition, man. Like Chelsea fans want to see us win the Premier League again, bro. That's what I want to see. I want to see us win the Premier League, bro. Oops. Why I don't like her, man. All right. Get around this guy. But yeah, man. That's just essentially like the player I would go for. That's like my thinking in all this. Like, I don't know why we're not considering a player like that, but you know, it's this ownership, and they've shown they don't really care about the fans at all. So I would just want to know when this stream eventually does post on my YouTube how people feel about that. But the whole point of this stream really was talk about Cole Palmer and about the possibility of him getting surgery, even though realistically, do I think he needs to go get surgery? Not right now, but if the injury keeps persisting and it keeps on happening, then yeah, bro, you need to go get it. I felt the same way about Esteval too. Like if the hamstring injury does come back and right now he's just taking his time, he's resting, he's recovering, that's fine. Make sure that hamstring is good, bro. You're not going to be required to play week in, week out because I don't think he needs to play week in, week out. He's not ready for that type of rigorous of a rigorous game, bro. He's just not ready for that yet. He's 18 years old. You need to preserve him, right? You don't want to ruin his career before he turns 21, and then he's going to be the biggest what if probably in the history of Brazilian football, bro. Like the biggest what if. What if he actually never got injured, right? You say that about Neymar now. Could you imagine if Neymar never got injured? The kind of accolades he would have, probably have a Ballon d'Or or two by now. Like, that's the kind of player Neymar was. So we'll see what happens with that, man. I mean, hopefully Palmer can come back. He's fit, firing, ready to go for the new season. And hopefully Xabi Alonso finds a way to unlock this brother, bro, because we all know how good he actually is. He's shown it in his first season, and I'm sure he's able to do it again. He just needs to like that confidence back. He needs a manager that will actually allow him to just play, right? Like a lot of people's problem with Enzo Maresca was that they feel like he ruined Cole Palmer. I can see what they're saying in a sense because Pochettino got him to play in a way where he was free. He was able to do whatever he wanted. But the first half of the Enzo Maresca season, in his first season, Palmer was one of the best players in the Premier League, bro. He just was, and then he just disappeared. He was nowhere to be found. So you just wonder if he's been dealing with an injury this whole time, or if it's just he just significantly dropped off. I want to say it's the first part rather than the second part, but Palmer, bro, he's got to figure it out, man. Like because I don't know how much longer this ownership or the fans are going to have patience with him. You're already seeing some people in the fan base turn on him a little bit, but do I think that they should be turning on him? No. Just like how I felt about Enzo Fernandez, I don't think a lot of people should have been giving this brother slander, because what you're going to realize once he's gone is that we're not going to get the proper replacement for him, and you're going to start seeing the detriment of selling him to Real Madrid unless you get a player of quality back or you get the right transfer fee. But I'd rather take a player in return than get the money for him, because I don't trust this ownership to go get the right player. I'd rather them just do a player swap like a Rodrigo or a Chouameni or a Camavinga for him, rather than just getting 80 million plus add-ons and then they go spend it on a fucking 16-year-old that lives in Africa, bro. Like, I don't want to see that anymore. I want to see us go get established players in this squad, man, because I love this club too much, bro, to see it in the depths of hell that it's in right now. I grew up watching this team religiously winning silverware, being in the Champions League, playing against the best teams in the world, playing against best teams in Europe, really, and then playing and then attracting the best players. We're not seeing that anymore because, like I said, these owners don't want to win trophies. They want to just be in the Champions League year in, year out. But imagine if you picked up a couple pieces of silverware along at the same time that you're qualifying for the Champions League year in, year out. You're going to get more money by winning the Premier League, by winning the Champions League, by winning the FA Cup, by winning the League Cup. You're going to win silverware, bro. That's what you should be doing. But they don't think like the fans, and they've never really wanted to think about the fans. And this is why I'm very frustrated with not a project CFC, bro, because you guys want to cancel a protest because there's a glimmer of hope. What glimmer of hope is there? Because nobody expects us to do anything next season, even with the new manager. So why did you cancel the protest? And why did you even have the protests in the first place? Where the hell were these protests last season? Earlier this season? Where were these protests then? Why are we doing this when Chelsea are in a bad run of form? Because Chelsea were actually winning games in the early part of the season. That's why you guys didn't want to schedule a protest. This is why earlier on my stream, I call these guys frauds, because they're not realistic about what they want. A glimmer of hope where, bro? Because Xabi Alonso is the new manager? Cool, bro. I'm happy he's the new manager, but I still want the owners out. That doesn't change anything. And that's where we all knew that the minute that one of these protests were called off, these owners weren't going to take us serious as fans. And that's why I said these owners are frauds. I mean, well, the owners are frauds, yes, but not a Project CFC are frauds, bro. Like, they really, really are. And I don't care if they come after me. I don't care if they want to come at me on Twitter or whatever, because I stream on Twitter, I stream on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all that shit, bro. I don't care, because I love this club too much to see people that want to do the right things and protest against the ownership and then backtrack because you guys got fed PR again. It's ridiculous, bro. Like, you guys weren't serious about it. You know, Eunice called you guys out, Johnny Minerals called you guys out, Bobby Therapy, all these guys called you out because they knew that you guys were not serious. A glimmer of hope where, bro? Where is the glimmer of hope? We finished 10th. Right? Where were the protests back in 2023 when we finished 12th? They weren't there. How about the 23-24 season when we finished 6th? Where were the protests? All right, because Chelsea went on a crazy run of form at the end of the season and they qualified for the Conference League. That's good enough, right? Where was the protest at the end of the season before this season? Where was the protest then? Oh, wait a minute, Chelsea were on a magical run to qualify for the Champions League. That's why, right? It's ridiculous, bro. Like, you guys, it doesn't make any sense to me, right? And I would love to get on a podcast with them and talk to them about it, because where I can call them frauds, because it's like you guys weren't serious about it. It's only when Chelsea are in a bad run of form you guys want to call a fucking protest, bro. Doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense. Like, grow a pair and continue to do what you're doing, because the first two protests were absolutely sensational. You guys were supposed to have an in stadium demonstration, turning your backs in the 22nd minute when Spurs were at the bridge. Where was that? You guys canceled it because Xabi Alonso is a new manager? Have a day off, bro. Cannot believe that they canceled that. You can shut up too, bro. I don't even know why you came into my stream telling me to shut up. But I appreciate that you're watching me, though. Means a lot, brother. Means a shit ton, bro. Thank you. You're only helping out my engagement, really. But I'm just being real. People want to tell me to shut the fuck up, but it's just the cold honest truth, bro. Like, a lot of Chelsea fans don't want to hear it, but that's the point of my channel. I'm not going to sit here and hide from anybody. Why don't you get behind the camera and actually put a face to it, bro? You're not going to do that because you're a keyboard warrior, right? Hilarious, man. A lot of Chelsea fans out there getting upset because I'm speaking the truth about not a project CFC. Yeah, bro. Okay. It's real funny, huh? Like, I'm not even worried about it, bro. Like, you're helping me out because you're just proving my point, honestly. Just helping out the cause, bro. Like, it's crazy because when I start speaking about certain people in the community, people have a problem with it. But nobody really wants to actually call these brothers out. Nobody does. Nobody wants to be the one that actually says it for what it is, rather than just hiding behind a keyboard and trying to voice their opinions. Like, get behind the camera and actually put a face to what you're saying, bro. Like, get behind the camera and do what I'm doing, speaking your opinion, speaking on what you don't like about what's going on, right? Like, a lot of people won't do that because they don't have the balls to do it, realistically. That's why I'm not afraid to tell people that come into my chat to shut the fuck up. You're gonna tell me to shut up, I'll tell you the same thing, brother. Like, why don't you actually voice your opinion? Tell me why I should be quiet rather than telling me straight up to shut the hell up. Because you don't have a reason to tell me that, right? So again, like I said, bro, there's fraudulent people within the community and nobody wants to call them out. So I will. I don't care if I get clipped for it or ridiculed for it, because I'm standing on my opinion on what I'm seeing here, right? I'm calling it out for what it is. I'm calling it out for why I'm frustrated as a fan, bro. Like, a lot of people that are on Twitter or on YouTube that be typing up in the comment section ain't been a fan of this club as long as I have. They just haven't. They just now joined the fucking circus of what Chelsea Football Club is. I'm sorry, you guys are enabling Blue Coast behavior. It's just a fact, bro. You guys are also part of the problem. That's why I ain't afraid of none of you guys, bro. No one really. Probably as fearless as it comes when it comes to actually doing this shit. And I don't even have like the biggest platform on YouTube to really be speaking my mind, but I do it because I need my opinion to be out there when it comes to what's going on. Like, no one's gonna call it out for what it is, bro. So I might as well be the one to actually do it. 5,000 miles away, right? At least with Johnny Minerals and all these other cats, bro, at least they're out there putting their face to what they're saying and they're calling out the bullshit as well. I'm not afraid to do that. I don't care what people have to really say. So again, people that want to come in here, what's going on, Jeremy? How you doing, bro? So again, it's like I said, bro, I'm going to call it out for what it is because nobody else wants to do it. Nobody else is worried enough about where this club is headed because they just don't care and they're going to enable what Blue Co are doing, bro. And they really shouldn't. We shouldn't be settling for mediocrity, man. Like we really, really shouldn't, man. Not really worried about all that. I'm just worried about where the hell this club is going in the future. That's what I'm about. How are we feeling today, Jeremy? Got people coming in here telling me to stop talking and stuff. It's like, no, I'm never gonna stop talking about the club I love. I can promise you that. Ain't nobody gonna ever tell me that. That's the point of my channel. No filter Chels for a reason. I'm gonna give you the unfiltered opinion about what the hell is going on. And if you guys don't like it, you guys don't have to watch anything I do. I'm just gonna continue to build my community and build my fan base. I'm glad you're doing well, bro. I'm very glad you're doing well, bro. Got people coming in here telling me to be quiet and shit because I'm speaking the truth about what's going on at the club rather than actually giving me a reason why I should be quiet. It's crazy, right? Like it's like I keep saying, man. People want to schedule protests. Keep on pushing the issue. Don't just stop because you hire a manager that's had a good season and a half in the Bundesliga. Come on, man. We need to see what he can really do in the best league in the world before we. Yeah, Blue Co is wrecking Chelsea, and somebody came in here and told me to shut the fuck up because I'm speaking the truth, bro. Like like I said, if you want to schedule a protest, what you need to do is continue with these protests. Don't stop it because you hire a manager. Dude wants to come in here and tell me to shut up because like they were never serious about it. Where were the protests? And you've been and I'm assuming you're a Chelsea fan. Where were the protests back in 2023, 24, and 25? Where were these protests then? They were never around. Why? Because Chelsea were up and down. They were winning games, they were losing games. They were winning games and losing games. This is the first where you've seen them just go on a horrific run of form. And now all of a sudden you want to schedule protests because they're losing, but then you hire Xabi Alonso. Oh well, there's a glimmer of hope, guys. You son is stuff like no, man. You got to continue to pile on the pressure. Like you saw what AC Milan did. AC Milan fired their manager, the CEO, the technical director, and the sporting director. Madrid is going crazy on transfers. That's how big clubs do. I missed the Roman era. Yeah, bro. I missed the Roman Abramovich era too because if he wanted a player, he would do whatever he needed to do to get that player. Right? What did Jose Mourinho do when he first got to the club? And he spoke on Drogba. Pay and don't speak. And what happened? Drogba ended up being one of the greatest strikers we've ever seen in the Premier League. Pay and don't speak. That's what these owners should be doing. Pay and don't speak. What does Xabi Alonso need? What do you need? Oh, you need Oshiman? Okay, here's the money. Don't say a word. Just give me the money. I'll go get him. You want Leao? Go pay the money, bro. Here. Go get Rafael Leao. If this is what it's gonna do to make my team win, my club win, sure. Here's the money. That's exactly what these owners should have been doing from the get-go. But they didn't. What Todd Bowley did, which was different, was that he was trying to bring in players for Thomas Tuchel, but the players that he was bringing in were past their best. That was the problem that we had with him. Ekbali's doing it completely different. We're buying young based on potential. You can't do that in this era anymore, bro. You have to have an established team, and then you start buying these young players, bringing in players from the academy and stuff. Real Madrid is a club that has a president that will get the players necessary, and nobody's going to say no to Real Madrid. No one. And this is why Enzo Fernandez's head is turned, right? Real Madrid come knocking. You want to wear this famous white kit? Okay. We will do whatever it takes to get you out of where you are now. And he's all but set now, in a sense, to go there. Like, this is the problem with the ownership, bro. And this is why people don't want to hear it. And this is why there's too many enablers out there with what they're doing. And then this is why people like Johnny Minerals and everybody is saying, everybody that is over here okay with what the ownership is doing, you guys are the enablers, and you guys are the actual you guys are one of the problems that is continuously letting this club do whatever they want. I think these owners ain't here but to make, they're here to make profits, bro. Right? Like Chelsea's turning into a player factory, right? They're turning into Ajax. They're turning into a Borussia Dortmund, bro. Like they're turning into, they want to be Brighton so bad. And it's like, you want to, and Brighton finish ahead of us, but you want to be a team that's sitting, 8th through 12th in the Premier League, season in, season out. You don't want that. Chelsea should be competing in the top 4 and pushing on to win the Premier League every single season. This is what we did under Roman Abramovich. This is what we're known for, right? But again, people want to come in here and tell me to be quiet, but it's just the truth because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear stuff like that because they're afraid of hearing the truth about what's going on because they know their club, because they know this club is going downhill insanely fast. Unless what they say is true, that Xabi Alonso has more say in what players come in and out of the club, then we'll see what happens over the summer, bro. But again, we got to believe to see. Until I see players that are established hold up a jersey and they have pen to paper, I'm not going to believe anything we see. I give what I want to see, but I know they're not going to go do this. I've said bring in Victor Osimhen, bring in Rafael Leao, bring in Bastoni, even bring in Jared Bowen, bro. I would bring him in. Go get Adam Morton. Go get these players, man, because they're going to make our squad better. They're going to make everyone else around them better. But these owners aren't going to do that because they don't care enough about what's going on. They really, really don't. And you win trophies, you get more money for it, bro. You get money for winning silverware. They don't think about that. They think about just getting into the Champions League. I'll get my 80 to 90 million because of that. And then we'll go see what young players we can go buy in the market. And that's not how this sport works. This isn't the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball, bro. That's logic, bro. I love it when people are telling the truth. I'm just telling it how it is, bro. Like, you win silverware, you get money for it, right? They win the Club World Cup last summer. They get 100 million off of that, right? I don't know how much it is if you win the Premier League, but it's a significant amount of money, right? I saw recently that even teams like Burnley, they finish 18th, get like 40 million, dude. And teams that are in 8th in the Spanish league get less than 10 million. It's like, that's insane. Like, so imagine if you're finishing in the top 4 every single season, you're winning silverware to go along with that. That's money. That's what you use to go get players, bro. Right? But people don't want to hear this shit. They don't want to hear the truth and the logic and what's going on at the club. And this is why I would love to get on these channels with Eunice, with Johnny Minerals, with all these guys, bro, because I know what I'm talking about, right? I don't care about my nationality at this point. I know I'm American, and Americans get all these crazy stereotypes that they don't know ball. But I'm one of the few Americans I believe that actually understands what the fuck is going on, right? I've been a fan of this club, like I always say, for 25 plus years, bro. All I've seen this club do is win, right? When they're not supposed to win, they win. And when they're good, they're great, bro, right? But at the end of the day, if they're not serious about this summer's transfer window, then I don't want to see another protest. I don't want to see another protest because they're not going to take it seriously. These owners aren't going to take anything that the fans do seriously because not a Project CFC wants to sit here and act fraudulent because Xabi Alonso is the new manager. Like, we need to call a spade, bro. This is why you cannot organize things and then not follow through with it. The first two were fantastic, but you want to stop it because a new manager is here. Like, that's not how you do it. It really, really isn't. So this is why I would love to get in contact with Eunice, Nini, all these cats that have these platforms, so I can speak on it from the Americans' perspective and from this far away from Stamford Bridge and what I'm seeing. And like, I don't think the best representative of the American Chelsea community, and he's not. Alex Goldberg is not the best representative for the Chelsea community on this side of the pond. He really isn't, because he's the same guy. No, like, I think about 90% of the fan base, Jeremy, is united on it. But I think there's just a 10% of the fan base that doesn't want to hear it, bro. I don't think they want to hear it, right? Like Blue Lions TV, Nini, right? This guy, I watched his videos for the longest time. He has yet to hold the ownership accountable for what they have done to this club and the sporting directors. He's yet to do it. But you see everyone else. You see Eunice's videos. You see Matisse's videos. You see all these other Chelsea fans' videos, right? What are they doing? Holding the ownership accountable because they know that this club should not be sitting 10th in the Premier League, bro. Finishing 12th another season, 6th in another season, 4th in another season. Like, Chelsea should be religiously and continuously being in the Champions League, bro. That's just how I see it. That's how it should always be. But until that happens, we're not going to actually see this club progress at all. We're just not. So this is why I keep on saying, and this is why people don't like to hear the truth. And this is why this person came in here and told me to shut the fuck up, because he doesn't want to hear it, because he's one of the blue co-enablers that don't want to hear anything. There's fans in the fan base that are okay with where the club is, and that's not cool. Like, then what that tells me is you became a fan as soon as the change in ownership happened. It wasn't when Roman Abramovich was here. I became a fan of this club in 2003, bro. Nini is a sellout. I don't want to go that far, but I do believe that with him, he does lack some type of accountability, and he doesn't want to call it out. And I think it is because of, and it's like you said, he might be a sellout, but I think it's because of the perks he gets with the clubs and promoting the megastore. And I've been saying this, I don't buy anything off the megastore anymore. I go through third party like sites to go buy my jerseys now. Why? Because I'm not trying to give any money to this ownership, bro. I'm one person, but if the entire fan base stops doing it, money doesn't go into their pockets. And what happens when that happens? Investors get cold feet. They already have cold feet, right? Investors back out, then they're forced to sell. People think they can't sell. Billionaires always have an exit strategy, right? They always have it. And private equity, if what you're trying to sell isn't working, you have to have an exit plan. They have an exit plan now, so they can figure it out and get the fuck out. That's what they need to do. There's no more of this, oh, well, give us no. You guys have had 8 transfer windows to figure it out, and we sat 10th in the Premier League this season. Last summer was supposed to be the summer. You qualify for the Champions League. You do all that, and you don't go get the necessary players to make the squad better. And this is why I was like, Enzo Maresca is asking for a center half and a goalkeeper and maybe another midfield player. You don't do that. You don't give that to him because you feel like the squad is good enough. And Daniel Finkelstein is saying it's fucking obvious we're building the best team in the world. How? What? Like, in what world is this Chelsea team one of the best teams in the world because we have the Club World Cup badge on our freaking jersey. That doesn't. We played anything but like World Cup champions. We did. Our best stretch of the season was from the beginning of October until November, the end of November. That was the best stretch of the season. Majority of the season, we sat on 48 points, bro, for 2 months. That's unacceptable, right? We were in a Champions League spot. Then we completely plummeted, nosedived, all that shit because this ownership doesn't care. They Enzo Maresca walked out for a reason, but I don't agree with the way that he walked out. I don't. But now with Xabi Alonso here, do I have hope that he's going to turn it around? We need to see what players are going to be signed, bro. Like at the end of the day, I don't want to put high expectations on this brother because he must have known what he's walking into, and if it's the money that he has, it's why he took the job. Then, bro, like your ambitions are in the fucking toilet. But if you want to get this club back to where it's supposed to be, you need to pull some type of rank in the boardroom and say, look, man, I don't care about this player, that player, and this player. I want these players here and these players out. If players don't want to be here, they need to leave. Give me the money. I'll tell you the players I want, and you need to go get these players. Otherwise, why did I sign here in the first